Hello, this is Greg, the Uber driver. Today is Wednesday, October the 11th, and I want to do a shout out to Governor DeSantis. Governor DeSantis, because of your anti-immigration policies, because of your anti-woke, because of your anti-gay, because of your anti-teacher, because of your anti-woman policies, and your conceal and carry lack of law and lack of necessary for permits, we've had now 5 months of decline in tourism in Florida. The hotel tax revenues across the state of Florida started declining at the end of April. They've declined April, May, June, July, and now August. 5 straight months. Millions, well, across the state, probably now hundreds of millions of dollars have been lost because of you. This is just the hotel tax collections, not to mention all the lost revenue from restaurants, everybody else in the travel and tourism business. We have lost hundreds of millions of dollars in this state. So that's number one. When are you going to come back and change these laws and stop this? Because you're hurting all of Floridians and everybody across the United States. You need to know this. Governor DeSantis is not interested in helping the people in his state. He's only interested in himself. Next, we have a huge insurance crisis. Insurance for homeowners are 4 to 5 times the national average. Guys, please don't tell me it's because hurricanes. Florida has hurricanes, yes. Florida has about 120 since 1851. Texas is next with 70. The next is Louisiana with 60 some. The next is North Carolina with 50 some. And the list goes on down. And they all don't have homeowner prices 4 to 5 times the cost of the rest of the country. So why is it only Florida? Florida's not the only state to have lawsuits. Florida's not the only state to have fraud, but Florida is the only state to have the politicians in it that we have that make the laws, that also allow the price increases that the insurance companies pass to go along to everybody. They are the ones that are responsible for this. People are losing their homes in Florida because they cannot afford the insurance. They're having to sell their homes because they can't afford the insurance. They're having to move out of Florida because they can't afford the insurance. And speaking of affordability in Florida, inflation is 3 times the national average in Florida. Thank you, Governor DeSantis. You're responsible for this too, because it's your policies that have caused insurance to go out of control for both homeowners and auto. It's your policies that have driven the construction labor force out of Florida, that we need to build housing that impacts this 9% inflation. You've driven 40% of the construction workforce out of Florida because of your law, SB 1718, that you passed to only increase housing prices and inflation even more. That is your problem. And then we have a massive problem here in education. There are around 10,000 teacher vacancies. Teachers are leaving because of your policies. Teacher pay is 48th out of 50th in Florida. There was a survey recently done of the 50 states. Florida came in at the worst, the 50th, the last state for teacher working conditions. You're now having people being hired as substitute teachers with basically, as long as they've got breath in their body, to bring them in. And you're making it very difficult. If we have a book in our classroom that's basically not approved, that contains any lines, phrases that you don't want in it, it's a 3rd-degree felony and we can be arrested. But you can't say whether Trump should go to jail and whether Trump didn't, I guess, go along with the peaceful transfer of power on January the 6th when he lost. You can't say that. And you can't come out and say what should happen to Trump on all these indictments. But teachers can be arrested for having a book in their classroom. I mean, really? These are problems that you should be here dealing with in Florida, but you're not. And you're being paid by the people of Florida, by the taxpayers, and you're spending 70% of your time out of state campaigning in a losing campaign for a presidential nomination that you're never going to get. So you need to get here. You need to do your job. And we've got problems in Florida that you actually need to start solving because you're the ones who've helped create them. Thank you, Governor DeSantis, for doing a terrible job. You never will be the Republican nominee for president, and you won't be ever again elected to any office in Florida either. Mark my words. Talk to Donna Deegan in Jacksonville. Ask her what happened to the DeSantis-backed candidate there. And we have only the second Democratically mayor elected in Jacksonville in 30 years because of the other candidate was the DeSantis candidate and lost by 6% in an area where DeSantis carried the year before by 20. Governor DeSantis comes out with all of his anti-culture war policies and anti-immigrant policies. He's as popular as the bubonic plague in Florida.